Hello John, today we're going to talk about one of your lovely paintings.
Good morning, Oliver. Yes, this painting is a copy, is a painting that I did from a picture of a painting that was Mass in a Connemara cabin in Connemara. That's what it was called, by Aloysius Kelly, who was born in 1853, just during the famine, if you like, and died in 1941. I reckon this painting was probably painted around 1880 or 1890, around that time. And it was a mass where local people might have come for miles into a thatched house, it would have been. And the priest said mass there and had his vestments and had the two candles and the monstrance here on the table, and the people there are kneeling and very happy to be there, to be able to receive Mass, because this might have been during the time when we had just got freedom to practice the Catholic religion after the penal times, which was only a few years before that. It was 1829 before we got able to celebrate Mass without being persecuted. So people were very glad. It did hold on to the religion with the Mass rocks and that, and there's that painting depicting the people at a Mass in the house, which took place all around the west of Ireland, in the Midlands, and maybe even in the cities in those times, because the faith was kept alive even during dangerous times. Now that painting, by the way, reminds me of the sort of people in the West in humble dwellings, probably candles to produce light. This was in Clifton. Now, there was a railway station there in Clifton where people could come and go by railway from about 1850 or thereabouts onwards, even though during the famine. So people could travel from Galway to Clifton on the railway, and every town and village was connected. Now, so that was a marvellous episode. Now, there was a saying there that I noticed, that Archbishop Fulton John Sheen, the famous broadcaster who had upwards of 30 million listeners on the radio, and even more when he did television programs in the 60s in the USA, 30 million, and he had 8,000 to 10,000 letters per week, one of the most popular broadcasters on the TV network, in the CBS network in the USA, in any time.
So you say there, John, the 1960s?
Yeah, 1960s.
So he's deceased, is he?
He is. He died in 1967.
Okay.
So he was a marvelous bishop. He said this one time, and it was actually repeated in the Alive magazine there in December. He said, Catholics have no zeal and all truth. Evil has no truth and all zeal. And I think it reminds us of the way things are going with regard to this Oireachtas committee and what's happening with regard to the efforts of the government and opposition to foist abortion on the people without their wish or without the need for to do such a thing. So for example, another thing that this reminds me of, when people were dependent on the goodwill of small local shops to give them credit, and so that they could have some groceries and something to eat. Times were very hard. As a matter of fact, a lot of those people would have depended on remittances from our immigrants that went to the USA to sort of help them to be able to survive in their homes. Okay. The immigrants from the west of Ireland and other parts kept this country going during these difficult times. So that's the marvellous thing about that painting. It shows the time, and this occurred up to, if you like, the 70s, before things started falling apart, particularly after Vatican II, when the practice of the Holy Mass, as was practiced, changed. So all this affected the practice of the Catholic faith, not least the efforts of the media to try to denigrate it and say everything bad about it rather than the good that they did.
Thank you very much, John. That was lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.